Hi, living in Boulder vlog, Friday the 16th. It's like 5 in the afternoon. 5 or 6 in the afternoon. It's just getting dark now. I just got up. I'm totally nocturnalized. I was working until like noon. And then I kind of got tired of working and decided to close my eyes and go to sleep. So slept from then until now. But now I'm ready to get up and go. I didn't get started working until late yesterday too. Kind of at the end of the day. So, yesterday I had actually I think I skipped my vlog from yesterday. Just didn't get around to do it. I was working all day long. So yeah, yesterday was my very first full day working on the Exceed 4000. I was working on my migration level pages on my website. But I think I got to a stopping point. Night before last is when I finished the day. I made a mistake. I finished the day by trying to paste the Race Across America onto the 1 week time zone page, but I forgot that that's a really heavy table. For some reason, it's smaller than the 180-kilometer Ironman bike ride. It has 2,215 people from Boulder 2014, and that the Ram only had 1,502. I think that's the same as the hashtag time trial 1,502, same number of people. It's interesting. Yeah, which that has it too, but it's for some reason it's a lot heavier. Maybe because it has more like fonts, more CSS files it connects to. I don't know, but I didn't, I didn't really matter because it was the end of the day. I was going to give it the entire day to paste, just let it spin around all night long. What I should have done was paste the stuff on the 1 week time zone page onto the RAM page, and then just change the name of the RAM page because that stuff and that other page was smaller, and I could have piecemealed it onto the RAM page. I just didn't think, I didn't think it would be a big deal because if I woke up the next day, it would crash the Dreamweaver, but you just restart Dreamweaver and do it again. But the problem was when I woke up the next day, it crashed my whole computer. Like I get up and I'm mousing the mouse around the screen and there's no mouse. So then I get my finger up there and there's no mouse. And so I had to restart the computer. And the problem with that was the project that I was working on that day, because I spent the last like hour or two of day before yesterday on the Exceed 4000 on Google Earth. So yesterday was my first full day, but the day before yesterday, the end of the day, for the last couple hours, I was doing it. And I made all these circles that I was going to trace, because it has these 12 rings that go around, and I was going to trace the 12 rings. So I made all these circles. It was actually 12 times 3, 36 circles, because I had them. The original was the middle, but then I built out to make how wide it was with these lines. And luckily I put the lines in the main folder because, if the computer crashes, that means you lose everything on Google Earth. Google Earth doesn't save stuff when it crashes like Dreamweaver does. And Dreamweaver wouldn't have saved it anyway because it crashed the whole computer, I think, and I had to restart the computer. But and so I had traced all those circles, and when on Google Earth, if you trace a circle, it puts it in the temporary file all the time. I traced all these circles, and they all went in the temporary file, and I knew they were in the temporary file. And I was going to drag them into the real file and save the real file, but I saved the real file without dragging them in. And I think in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, don't worry about it. When I wake up in the morning, I'll just, I'll just pick up. But I didn't remember that, oh, shit, if Dreamweaver crashes from pasting this thing is too big, it's going to crash the whole computer. So at least hopefully I remember that now. So Because what happened was I didn't get around because I was lazy, or from now on, when I did after that, I was like immediately I put next, because that was my rules before. You immediately put the stuff that's in the temporary file into the main file and save it, because I had to redo all those circles. But it was only like 10 minutes out of my time, because luckily for me, those lines that I did out were still there. I did not make those in the temporary. I was smart enough to make them in the main one. A lot of the times you can lose stuff, or I've lost stuff in the past a lot of times, where normal stuff is in the temporary file, because you're working stuff and it's in your regular file, and then you make a few circles and then you keep working, and then you forget that everything after you make the circles is now in the temporary file. So then if you save it, you have to make sure the stuff in the temporary file is, or if it crashes. And so, yeah, so anyways, luckily it wasn't too catastrophic because I had those lines out. So I just traced it off of that. But the problem is I'm building this on the sea. And if you build Google Earth stuff on the sea, it's not exact. It moves around somehow because of the sea and the sea floor. And I think it's actually better when you're not dealing with the deep sea. And this is only like 60 feet deep. So, but that made it so it's not exactly the same as before. So, but I don't think you'll notice it because it's such a big building. I don't think you'll notice any discrepancies, like like all of a sudden it moves to the side on the top or whatever. But so yesterday, what I spent most of the day after I got caught up was tracing all the 12 circles around, and then I made I'm in the process of building the structure that goes up, and that's the time-consuming part. But it was really magical how it worked out, because you have this building, the Exceed 4,000 meters high, and it goes up, and it's kind of like a volcano. It starts up kind of flat, and then it gets really steep toward the top, but then it has a flat top. And so there were all these circles that I had made for the rings, which were in the building. And then I redid the circles in the middle of the rings, which I lost. It's because I wanted lots of circles. And then I was like, okay, so if you're going to build this building, if you wanted to make it look good, because the building goes in like this. And with Google Earth, you can't make stuff sideways. You can only make stuff like this. So if you want to make us, slivers. Oh, but the advantage of building something, a giant building like that, over the sea, is that the sea is perfectly flat. And you can't do that anywhere on land. You could not do what I'm doing on land. If you're doing what I'm doing on land, you would have to make it solid. It wouldn't be hollow like the real one. And I want to make mine one hollow because you can get on the inside of it and build buildings on the inside of it and look into it. It makes more realistic. So how do I make it, make it sideways then? Come in. Well, I make the slivers, and I make the slivers on top of each other as they go in. And then if you look at it from a distance, it looks like it's solid. So, but in order to do that, I have to make lots of these slivers. So I made lots of circles, there are those circles with a 24 with the middle, so that's 36. And then I filled them in like 4 times or something. And I think it's like 40 meters wide or something like that. I didn't figure it out in my head. It just magically happened. I just traced. And then I traced one of them in, because there's 12 of them that come in. There's 24, 12 of the solids, and then it's empty. That's why there's lots of empty space. You can look into it, and it needs to be hollow. So I was tracing, the solid part that goes up, and I went all the way in, and as it gets to the end, it gets really steep. So you want to make them wider, so you have at least a little bit of a ledge, because I'm trying to make ledges to build little structures on, and maybe little roads or paths to go around it. And so, towards the end, I started fusing them together, and it conveniently made it so it was 100 levels going up, and that's really magical. And that was just magically happened. I didn't even plan on it. It just turned out to be 100. And that's really cool for me because I have 100 bike racer levels, so I can now color these. And I can make the solid inside the color of the level, and then the outside line the color of their category. So that you can see category from a distance, and then you zoom in and you see level. So that'd be really cool. It's gonna have a great optical effect. And so yeah, that's awesome that's on there. Anyway, let's keep this under 1,000. 10 minutes. Talk to you tomorrow.